happening, good people? What is happening, man? I know it's been quite a while. You guys haven't seen me in a couple weeks. A lot of things going on. A lot of things have gone on. You know, things are starting to settle right now. But just had a lot of things going on, man. Family things and things like that. And I'll get into it here in just a moment. But I definitely want to say, you know, what's up to everybody. And I will wait a few moments to allow you guys to get up in here. And give me a second, guys. I think I got double audio going here. Let me mute the computer side here so you guys don't hear it double. There it is. I think you guys are probably hearing the double audio right there, so I apologize for that. But yeah, let's get back to it, man. And guys, let me know. Make sure you can hear me clearly. Hopefully you guys can confirm that it's no longer echoing, so please do that. But welcome to the Terrible Towel Tuesday, which I believe might be the first one, you know, since the off season. I know we did do kind of the season wrap up, and we did do, kind of the steel table, the discussion with Kenyon. Unfortunately, you know, Tony was unable to make it that night. I'm sure I'll get these guys back on soon. But I'm back, man. You know, I'm going to try to do this thing every week the best I can, man. If we have news to talk about, I'm sure I will rely on you guys as well with that. You know, maybe you have some news or some things that you want me to discuss. Please give me that information in the chat, and I'll be happy, very happy to have at it. If you hear background noise, guys, my little man is right above me up there in the kitchen, so you know how it goes. But what's up to everybody, man? Let's do a quick check-in. It's been a while. I want to say what's up to Lydell Dorsey, Droz Hill, Kegels Bagel, Steve Williams, Ali Howard, KSO Dangerous, Vista Light, Y Diggy, Xavier Martinez, my good brother Kenyon in the building. Hello, Lanisha Hayes. Got to say hello to the ladies. Always got to respect them. Steelers 72 Stanley. Who else we got in here? Brandon Cheney, Black and Gold James. Who else is in here? What's up, Real Facts? Real Facts in the building as well. Joshua Shields, Tristan Middleton, and I believe I already said Ollie Howard, but if I didn't, what up to you as well? And that's a good enough starting point. So, first thing I'm definitely going to talk about, man, of course, you know, I like to piddle around a little bit before I get into the meat of what I want to talk about in terms of the title. You guys already see it there, talking about Ben Roethlisberger, so we'll get to that in a minute. I want to just talk about a few other things, man, a few housekeeping things, if you will. I haven't really taken a look at the transactions, so I don't know if there's any real transactions to talk about outside of the fact that, you know, considering how major you think this is, William Gay, you know, has taken a position at Missouri State. You know, it's said that he's going to be working with the DBs. I don't know if that means he'll be the DB coach or what have you. You know, he was more of an assistant with the Steelers, so we'll see. But shout outs to William Gay. You know, congratulations to him if that's what he wanted to do. You know, great. You know, I thought maybe he would stick around at the organization. You know, some people, you know, don't like William Gay. I guess some people hate or love him or what have you. I've always said that William Gay was a smart player, you know, very headsy type of guy. Didn't always, you know, display it on the field. It is what it is, guys. Not everybody is a superstar. But I thought maybe William Gay, you know, could have been a veteran guy that maybe would have been able to help, you know, and our team, you know, the Steelers team in the DB department. But, you know, I guess when you have Terrell Austin and you have guys like, what's the guy, Tom Bradley, I think his name is, you know, I guess maybe you don't really need William Gay, so to speak, but it is what it is. There you have it. So, what else do we want to talk about really quick before we dive into the meat of things? Emmanuel Sanders. Apparently, Emmanuel Sanders is you know, he's open to a possible return to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he feels as if the bridge may have been burnt. For you guys that don't know, you know, when Emmanuel Sanders left the Steelers, you know, he very openly had a little criticism about Ben Roethlisberger. The biggest thing that got attention was the fact that he said that Peyton Manning was clearly a better leader than Roethlisberger, and, you know, there was a couple of rumblings going on when he was there, but, you know, post the Steelers, you start hearing more information, even what he recently said about, you know, he just thought Ben was a jerk, and he doesn't think that Ben has a, you know, open arms for him, and just a little couple things, man, that, you know, those two guys were just not on the same page. So for some of you guys that didn't know that, there it is, you know. So I wouldn't be opposed for a return for a guy like Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, honestly, let's be honest. If he goes on with the Niners and if they win a title, his stock is definitely going to rise. So I don't know how realistic that is. Once again, we know the Pittsburgh Steelers do not have a lot of cap space. So when we're talking about adding pieces, because I see people already talking about possible free agents and who might be able to, come in and who we might be able to bring in, you guys have to remember cap space is going to determine all of that, right? So don't get your hopes up. But either way, if Emmanuel Sanders is able to work, why not? Why not have another crafty guy like that? But at the end of the day, I'm going to be very honest. I think we have our Emmanuel Sanders already on the team and a Deontay Johnson, and I think the Steelers are going to look at it the same way. And again, if it's going to, cause some friction between him and Roethlisberger or whoever else, what's the point? Emmanuel's, Sanders is on the latter part of his career, so it is what it is. No disrespect to him, but I thought I would just bring that information up to you guys in case you didn't know it. Outside of that, man, I don't have a lot of other information to discuss in terms of, off the field things. I plan to be not with you guys, but so long tonight, y'all. I say plan because we know how that always goes, but, not a whole lot to talk about. I guess the only other thing I did want to mention, haven't had an opportunity, man, to listen into the Steelers Depot, their podcast, the Turbo Podcast. I haven't had a chance to listen to as many as I would want over the last 2 weeks because I've had so much going on. I started listening to the one that they did yesterday because I wanted to hear more about, what Alex Kazor had to say about the Senior Bowl. I know Kenya mentioned to me that, Alex doesn't seem to be as high on Michael Pittman Jr. as we are and others around the league clearly seem to be. So, I want to hear more of their assessment and, kind of get some of those names. I lean to those guys a lot, man, to get some of those names that I'm not as familiar with. And right after that, I go look at my own film because, that time is about to start. We're going to be moving into, what do you call it? I'm losing my words here. Y'all know what I'm talking about. February Combine. We're about to move towards the Combine, and that's when I really start getting into my film study. That's my process. And like I said, a lot of times I get a lot of names from those guys, from people who may have been at the Senior Bowl and things like that. It was reported that almost the entire Steelers staff was there. So obviously, we got our eyes on somebody, and it's going to be tricky this year with going into the draft without a first-round pick. So it's going to be very interesting, man, to see, which way the Steelers go with it. I did hear that, I don't know how much this means, but they were talking about some of the guys who were like the practice standouts, and one of the tight ends that, a lot of you guys may be familiar with him as well. The Hopkins kid, it seems like he also made an impression at practice. And I haven't had a chance to watch the Senior Bowl either. I'm sure I'll get a chance to look at that, so I can look at some of these guys in action, their most recent action, before I go into looking at the film. So those are just a couple things I wanted to throw at you guys before I dive into the Ben Roethlisberger topic. You guys know, like always, man, the phone lines are open. If you guys want to call in, area code 619-924-0818. I know the last time that we had a show, we had some issues with Blog Talk, and unfortunately, that's something that we have grown accustomed to. So if you guys do want to call in and you can't get in, just let me know, man. Just let me know, and I will continue to pound that pavement and try to get Blog Talk to be more consistent. But again, if you want to call in, I'll give you guys a few minutes to say what you have to say, and there you have it. Now, let me get to this as well, man, before I dive all the way into what I want to talk about tonight. Just to let you guys know, what's kind of been going on with me the last couple weeks. Roughly 2 weeks ago now, I guess you would say, my, well, let me start off with this. My grandmother, my grandmother was a very lively woman. She was the type that didn't want you to help her with anything. And I'm talking about even when she's in her 80s. She's moving TVs and stuff around the house while you're there. Very upbeat, mentally sharp, everything intact. And I'll say over the last year or so ago, we've started to see her slow down a little. It happens. Old age, right? And, and the doctor said at that time that, her Her heart wasn't working at 100%. They put in a pacemaker. She wasn't happy about that. And just over time, man, it's just continued to diminish and continue to diminish. And it got to the point where it was working off of 25%, and, she became less of herself. So it was tough to see that. And, last Saturday, she passed away. My grandmother was 95 years old. So it was kind of tough to deal with that, man, as you guys would imagine. I mean, some people would say, wow, 95, you kind of expected. And of course we all did, but it's still because she was so involved and so connected. It still was tough. It really shook the family up because she was the matriarch at the time. And now that, goes down to my mother and my aunt, they will become that. But basically, what kind of started the spiral, her brother, right? She had a younger brother, which was only in his 70s. He passed away unexpectedly a week before that, right? So everybody's trying to deal with that. They don't really want to tell my grandmother, because they thought it would break her. And, my grandma's sister, how about this? My grandma has an older sister. Her sister's 97. They didn't really want to say it to them because, both of them were kind of in the decline, and they just felt like hitting them with that type of news would just be, But, the week right after that, my grandmother passes. And it was very tough on my mother because even from my mother's brothers and sisters, it's her and my aunt are the only ones left. She's had two sisters and a brother to pass away. So it's like, it was very tough on my mother and my aunt. That's, again, she's 95, but it's still your mother. All right, so that's one reason why I was kind of missing in action last week and the week before. So I just wanted to kind of bring you guys up to speed to let you know what's going on, man. I appreciate everybody who reached out, to me via Twitter and things like that to offer condolences. And then I got to talk about this as well, man. I mean, wow. Not a family member, obviously, but the devastating news about Kobe Bryant, man, is just, wow. And I got something in my eye, guys. Like, seriously, I'm not joking. Something is really in my eye. I'm not crying. However, I'm not ashamed to say, man, Kobe's death pretty much brought me to tears, man. I'm going to tell you why. As a father, right, that thing hit so hard, man, because for one, obviously none of us know Kobe personally, right? But some people you kind of grow with. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm old enough to have seen Michael Jordan, but I was a kid. Like, I wasn't dissecting the sport or any sports. I was just enjoying it, right? And then when I got a little older, I was able to go back and really say, oh, man, this guy was incredible. But I wasn't the guy that was like 16 or whatever watching Jordan. You understand what I'm saying? At his height. Kobe was that for me. Kobe was my generation's Michael Jordan, right? And the funny thing is, people used to always criticize him, and like, I had one of my best friends that hated Kobe. I don't know why. I mean, couldn't stand him, right? And they used to say, man, he think he Jordan. But here's the funny thing, and most of you probably would agree. How many of you have been out on a basketball court when you were a kid and you was like, Jordan, I'm like Jordan out here? Or how many times have you played against somebody and he think he Jordan, right? So why would we be upset at a guy like Kobe idolizing the same person that everybody did and was able to almost pull it off? Now, I'm not trying to spark a debate. I'm just saying, if you had to say who was the guy that emulated the way Jordan played, even from mannerisms and everything, Kobe was it. So I say all that to say this. Kobe was my generation's Michael Jordan because we got to see him. Same thing with bringing it back to the Steelers. I know Lambert and them dudes and Ham and, Joe Green, all those dudes were the greats. Lynn Swans and all them type of guys. L.C. Green. I didn't get to see them play. Right? So if you're asking me who are some of my favorites, you understand it's going to be different than somebody else. Everybody might not say Hans Ward. Everybody might not say Jerome Bettis. Everybody might not remember when we had, LaVon Kirkland and, because that was me as a kid watching these dudes and Greg Lord. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I saw. Excuse me. So you couldn't fault me if I say, no, I prefer this guy over that guy. I'm not saying he's better, but that's who I saw. It might be a safety to come around. Case in point. There's a 14-year-old kid right now that's a Steelers fan that's looking at Minka and he's like, yo, this dude is the greatest. I ain't gonna argue that. But I saw Troy Polamalu play. You understand what I'm saying? I watched Troy's whole career. So I might be having that debate with somebody else 15 years from now. So that's, to bring it back to Kobe, that's what he meant to me. You know what I mean? So I felt like I grew up with him. So on that part, it crushed me, right? But then on the second part, as a father, to hear the news that the man was with his daughter and his daughter passed, that, I ain't gonna lie, man. And like I said, I don't even want to stay too far on it because it might get me misty, man. That, y'all don't understand. That hit me real hard, bro. Because as a parent, you don't want to do nothing else but protect your kids. And I just hope, I pray that it happened the way that they're saying that it happened. It was, dense fog and the pilot was trying to breeze through it and they never saw what hit them. Okay? I hope that's what happened. Because the thought of thinking that you're in a situation where you know what's about to happen and your baby's right there, you can't do nothing about it. I pray that it didn't go down like that. So, yeah, man. So I got to acknowledge that. I'm going to do a quick moment of silence for Kobe, for my grandma. It's been a tough week. Like I said, some people would say, oh, man, well, you didn't know. Hey. I'm just trying to get over my grandmother. I went to her funeral this past Saturday. And then, Friday, and then bam, Sunday. It's like, wow. It's just unbelievable, man. Kobe Bryant will be missed, man, because, again, he was a generational person. Regardless of what sport he played, he was just, he was one of those figures, that, it's just a tough loss, man. So, yeah, that hurt me hard, man. That hurt me hard. And, yeah, I shedded some tears over that one. So, all right, really quick, man, before I dive into the last topic, let's do a quick moment of silence. One time for the Mamba, Kobe, the other families, and absolutely his daughter, that precious little girl, man. Yikes. All right, so I'm going to do it right now. All right, man, let's give a round of applause to Kobe Bean Bryant. Tough situation, man. But yeah, so let's get into this last news, man. And again, all of you guys in here, man, that, giving me condolences. I really appreciate that, man. And yeah, like my man here said, he says, never easy, Gabe. You're right. It's never easy, man. Even though grandma was 95 and we knew it was coming, man, I'm still in there pitiful, man, everybody. And then, my mother, for some of you guys that don't know, she sings, she sings really well. She's a, big time, in church, and she travels and stuff like that. And by God, man, to hear her stand up there and sing a song like my grandma's favorite song to her, it broke everybody down. It wasn't a dry eye in that place. So, but my grandma was a tough lady, man. She wouldn't want me to be dwelling on it, but I appreciate everybody's condolences, man. Triple salute to y'all, man. But all right, let's get back to Steelers business, man. Last topic I got of the night, unless I got phone calls in the queue. Let's check. It looks like there is one. Area code 803. I need you to do me a favor. If you are able to hear me in the phone queue, please let me know. Please let us know in the chat so I know how to approach it with Blog Talks, crazy mess. Let me know some kind of way. And guys, if I don't see it, y'all let me know that he's telling us that he can hear me. And not through the stream. Make sure you can hear me in the phone queue so I know the phone queue is working. But all right, man, as far as the Steelers, let me take a sip of water. All right, you said I'm coming through. Great. All right. Have y'all ever have y'all had the time to, and I say y'all ever, like it's been a long time since the season ended. Have you guys sat and thought about what if Big Ben Roethlisberger does not come back as Big Ben Roethlisberger? And let me preface the statement with this. Some people say that he hasn't been Big Ben Roethlisberger for years now. Can't argue with that. He's probably not the same Big Ben that we are accustomed to seeing. Has played well, but we know for the last couple years, what's kind of plagued our excitement about Ben is the interceptions. Okay, just last year, in the best statistical year for Roethlisberger, with yards and touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, he also had a career high in interceptions at 16. Not a good look. Now, some would say, with good enough offense and a good defense, which we definitely had in 2019, you can overcome some turnovers, but I'd rather not have them. I'd rather have a situation like Aaron Rodgers that only throws, 4 or 5 interceptions on the year. And I know some people are going to say, oh, well, he threw a couple in that last game. Okay. But how was his season, though? Or Patrick Mahomes. And I'm probably missing some other guys that had very low interceptions. I think even Carson Wentz finishing the season, his interceptions were down. Touchdowns were up. I would like to see that Ben Roethlisberger return. So let's just say the 2018 Roethlisberger. Are we sure that we're going to get him? We don't know. And what do we do in that case? And when will we know? I saw something the other day, man. It might have been today that Ryan Clark said, only number 7 knows where he's at in terms of his injury. When will we know? Will we know before the draft that he's back and ready? If he's not, will he, openly say, look, I don't think I am what I'm supposed to be? Let the Steelers know in advance so we can think about a succession plan? I don't know. If he feels like he's not where he should be, does he retire? You saw Eli Manning just retired. Phillip Rivers might be on the brink. Drew Brees is rumors circulating. Some of the older guys ready to call it quits. If Ben don't think he can get it done at 100%, does he bow out? I wouldn't blame him. What do the Steelers do in that situation? Here's the thing that we all need to know. Mason Rudolph will be the number 2 quarterback at the very least. Mike Tomlin said that in his post-conference, to end the season. But you can pretty much figure that would be the case. We know how the Steelers usually handle draft picks. Mason Rudolph will be given at least one more year to see what he can do, regardless of circumstance. I'm talking even if Roethlisberger retires. Mason Rudolph might be handed the keys unless the Steelers go in the draft or unless the Steelers are able to get a savvy veteran to come in. And I'm seeing all kinds of crazy claims. I'm seeing people like, there's a lot of Steeler groups that I follow on, on Facebook. I just check in from time to time. I don't do a lot of commenting, but I'm going to be honest and open with you guys. Some of you guys are probably here because of that. I'm going to be open and honest. I joined some of them just so I could talk Steeler football and promote what I do here. I told y'all, I keep it 100% real. Not really concerned with all the commenting, but it'd be some crazy stuff in there. And I'm seeing people saying, Tom Brady to the Steelers. Come on, man. Phillip Rivers. Now, mind you, they're not saying in replace of Ben Roethlisberger in terms of Roethlisberger retiring. They're just saying bring Tom Brady in right now and be him and Ben on the roster. Come on, buddy. Y'all know better than that. That it will never happen. There's no way. There's no way that would happen. It's the same reason why Eli Manning retired. Because he said himself, I would not like to be in a backup role. That's not fun. And it seems like that Eli is very loyal and he feels like he doesn't want to put a uniform on anywhere else. Bowed out. So that's the question, man. What do the Steelers do in that scenario? I don't have the answer. I don't know if the quarterback of the future is in the draft beyond the first round. Now, granted, we're talking Tom Brady. Tom Brady was a sixth round pick. You never know when you might strike oil. Look how late Russell Wilson went. See what I'm saying? And guys like Patrick Mahomes, which it kills me to say this because Kenyon and Tony would remember, he's projected to be a third or fourth rounder. And I'm thinking, man, if the Steelers can get him, the Steelers brought him in. Man, if he's still there in the third, go after him. Andy Reid apparently saw it the same way we did. Took him in the first. And look at what he's doing. So you just never know, man, what the quarterback will or won't be based on their draft stock or where they're selected in the draft. But we can only go off of projections. And looking at the landscape of the college football quarterbacks that are coming out, I haven't studied everybody. I'm not a savant in that regard, but you would think guys like Joe Burrow seem to be ready to go. And there's probably a few other guys sprinkled in there. But beyond that, yeah, I like Jalen Hurts. But again, I think a lot of us are thinking Jalen Hurts with our fanism. We're not really looking at total package. If a guy like that, obviously, I would say you might need another offensive coordinator to come in with him. I don't think he fits what we do now. And we don't have any evidence of thinking that Fichtner and whoever else. Oh, there was another transaction I wanted to talk about. Matt Canada. Whoa, I'm going to get back to that in just a second. But you would think Fichtner is still going to be the guy, right? Do we have any evidence to think that he's going to change everything that he does and to fit a guy like Jalen Hurts? I don't know. I really don't know. Excuse me. So that's what I'm saying, man. It's going to be very interesting if the Steelers, if we're in a situation where there's no Ben Roethlisberger or Ben Roethlisberger isn't what he once was this year. That's going to be very interesting. Now, before I take the phone calls, man, let me talk about Matt Canada really quick. Most of you probably know his pedigree, and the type of things that he does within an offense and, what he can bring to the quarterback room. Here's an interesting fact. Not really fact, but the fact of the matter. Let's say it like that. Let's think back a year ago when we said, I wonder if they're bringing Terrell Austin in to be the de facto, defensive coordinator be the defensive coordinator and you allow Keith Butler to kind of be the de facto coordinator where it's, he's the face, but it's Terrell Austin that's in the background really doing things. That was an idea we all had. A lot of us did. And then during the season, we caught a couple games where it looked like Tomlin had a play call sheet, a little one, but we saw a few games where he had it, right? You hear the players come out and say, man, Tomlin saved the game for us, drawing up plays like we were in high school on the sideline, blah, 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 right? So it kind of seems like maybe Tomlin and Austin was more so the guys running the defense. I wonder if it would be something similar with Canada. It's just speculation. But I'm saying, what if he would really be in the background running the show as far as the offense? Or, kind of merging with Fichtner, and he's more than just a quarterback's coach. Because think about it. Fichtner was the quarterback coach for the longest. And then when Todd Haley went, we promoted him. I'm just saying. So it doesn't necessarily mean only because Matt Canada has been hired as the, quarterback's coach. We shall see. We shall see. The only thing that we have to be concerned with, though, guys, is this. Ben Roethlisberger. You know Roethlisberger runs the show. Don't expect a new offensive coordinator to officially be there when Ben Roethlisberger is still on the team. He's going to retire, I'm sure, with Randy Fichtner at the helm as far as offensive coordinator. Maybe candidate is a candidate we have an eye on for after Roethlisberger. Then we'll see some things change. But like my cousin Floyd said, man, I saw Floyd over the weekend, and he had this to say. Looking at what candidate is able to do on offense, man, we got the personnel to run some of that stuff. Some of the trick stuff and, jet motion and jet sweeps and things like that. A guy like Deontay Johnson, man, that needs to be a type of guy that we just try to get the ball to him any way we can, similar to what the Niners do with Deebo Samuel. So just a couple things for you guys to think about there, man. I don't know what will happen, but just a few things to think about. So, all right, let's get to the phone calls, guys. Y'all know the routine. We're right at about 31 minutes. Shorter videos here tonight. I'll give you a minute or so to get whatever off your chest, but be courteous of the time, and we'll keep it moving. But first in the queue, area code 803. What's going on? What you got for us tonight?
Not much. I'm trying to be very fast. The one thing is we're looking at we're entering a time where Big Ben has to be honest with himself, for one thing.
Yeah.
Since Baltimore and Cleveland are running the ball, we have to have a system where we're running the ball. So that means I feel that we need to bolster their offensive line, replace Roman Foster with a younger body, possibly Villanueva. One thing I saw with these guys last year is their stances were terrible. So we have to run the ball better. That's how you help an older quarterback like Big Ben. That's how John Elway won 2 championships. So, and then we have to address the tight end position. Tight end position was obsolete last year for us. And those are things that we have going. Along with a healthy James Conner, because if he's not going to be healthy, he's definitely not going to be the starting running back. He's definitely not going to get that contract. They say you can't make the club if you're in the tub. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming through. Always making great points, man. And 803 keeps it consistent, man. He a lot of times he's addressing, the old line and the run game, so he definitely has his focus, and I agree with him. Speaking of Ramon Foster, it's going to be a very interesting offseason, man. I mean, listen, I love Ramon for what he's been, but come on, man. This is a business. It's a young man's sport, right? And Ramon Foster has never really been the flight of feet type of guy. He lumbers around even more now. Maybe it's time. And even the stuff that he said after the season, and if they want me here and they need, it won't call for it. It's almost like maybe he knows something. But I agree. We need to make sure we keep an eye on the offensive line, because maybe the line isn't what it once was. I know some people think that it was because of the departure of Munchak, but still, I think there's definitely a talent gap there. When you talk about a Matt Fowler having to play most of the year, we don't know exactly what Chooks has, and DeCastro being the man. And Villanueva is still a little shaky. He plays good sometimes, other times not so much. So, great points, and we definitely need to run the football. And James Conner, man, I pray that this kid stays healthy. I love his demeanor, man, but listen, your best asset is your availability, man, and that's the facts. So there you have it. So area code 843. What's going on? What you got for us?
What's going on, Antoine, man?
Oh, what's up, Twan? What's going on, brother?
That's when I check up on you, man. Give my condolences, man. But man, looking at y'all team, some Cowboys, man. We're looking at y'all team. Y'all never really addressed the age situation, and Juju is not number one right now, man. And that's really hurt y'all. Y'all did a good job last year by getting Minka to help the defense a lot. But y'all need another receiver to come into that system and be a burner, man. Y'all need somebody else. Because the offensive linemen in this draft, all of them will be gone by the time y'all pick.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say, man.
Man, Antoine, appreciate you tuning in, man. Y'all give a round of applause, guys, to my brother Antoine. Let me throw that out there really quick. got to give a shout out to my brother Antoine there, man. This guy's been following me for a while now, man. I think we kind of first, intertwined with gaming, and he comes by and he supports everything, and I appreciate it, man. Good brother, man. He's donated a lot, and it ain't about that, but I'm just saying, just trying to explain to you guys what type of guy he is, man, and a Cowboys fan, but it ain't about that. He's supporting me. I appreciate that, and gave us some good analysis, man. So I will respond to what he said there. Listen to what he said about Juju. I like how he said yet. And that's the argument I get in with a lot of people. He's not a number one. Not yet. We don't know if he'll ever develop into that. Give him time. The first season that he was slated as the number one, he don't have his quarterback. And maybe he never develops into a number one. But I like the fact, like Antoine said, not yet. And he said you need to bring another guy in there. It's the same thing we did when it was him and AB. Now, granted, I'm not saying AB needed a Robin. I'm not saying Batman needed Robin, but I'm saying, again, if there was another receiver that was really posing a threat, we would be able to see what Juju is really capable of. I don't think it's fair for us to expect him to be the number one that AB was. But I think he still has the potential to be a number one guy from a talent standpoint. I don't know if it will ever develop. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see it. Hopefully we bring in another receiver, or James Washington and Deontay Johnson can hit the ground running in the beginning of the season with Roethlisberger, and we shall see. So I appreciate Antoine coming through, man. One more here really quick. Well, actually, we got a few more. So you guys are doing good on the time, man. So let's grab the next call. There's two area code. Actually, I'm sorry. There's one. One area code 832. What you got for us tonight?
Hey, what's going on, Sam? This is Ali Howard, man.
What's up, Ali? Nothing much, man.
Oh. Hey, man, my condolences. May Allah give y'all peace in the family and a little serenity, you know what I mean?
Appreciate it, man.
Hey, I'm going to try to make this quick. Stick with me. This is an old quote. I'm out here in Houston. And about 10, 15 years ago, the soccer team got a international coach from Italy. And somebody asked him, they was like, hey, so when do you think the U.S. will be able to compete on an international stage in soccer? And the dude laughed. He said, in American sports, y'all concentrate too much on, y'all put too much stock in what people used to do. And y'all don't do enough good enough job in talent acquisition and scouting talent, you know. And when he said that, I was like, that's how all American sports is.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we say you got to play, and then we're going to pay you. You know, a guy have a down year. Look at Bud. Now his contract year. Everybody like, oh, he playing good because he got a contract year. No, that's not anything to do with it. The man been hurt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't forget he had power. The dude been doing all speed moves because he had, core injuries, pec injuries, stuff like that. But I was saying that on the Ben topic. That's crazy talk for people to talk about, like, let's just get rid of Ben. Can't do that. Last year proved it. You got to have a contingency plan in place already.
Yeah.
To go before you just throw people out in the trash. You know? All I just hope that the Steelers have identified who they want. And I hope they go and do whatever maneuvers it takes to get that next quarterback. But it ain't going to be next year or whatnot. But I just wanted to hear what you had to say on what that coach thoughts was on how we do things, you know. We put things on the back end. Our high-ticket contracts are Hayden, Ben, the older guys. All the younger guys, they on rookie contracts, but we need to produce a little more and think about what the younger guys do and just try to evaluate talent a little better, man. I'll let you go.
Oh, man, Ali, that was a great comment right there, man. And guys, I apologize if y'all can't hear the callers. I just saw somebody say that. I turned it up. I do another show. Some of you guys know that on Thursday I do more of a gaming show. And my co-host on that, his mic a lot of times is a lot louder, so I cut down the desktop volume and I hadn't turned it back up. So hopefully you guys are at least able to hear them well enough. And I did turn it up, so y'all let me know if it got better. definitely want to respond to what he said there. Hey, whoa, I can't disagree with that. I cannot disagree with what that coach said. As far as we always looking at what somebody used to be or what have you, and that is a very, very fair assessment. And it does work like that in both ways. Like you said, the Bud Dupree situation, we look at who he was and we already down in the dumps on him. But now maybe he is finally getting to where he needs to be. And we all know he did suffer some injuries and all of that. But at the same time, looking at the Roethlisberger situation, I agree. Can't be ready to throw him out right now. But we have to definitely say, hey, man, he might not be what he used to be. And, we only got him for 2 more years, and that seems to be what he wants to play. We need to be looking at that contingency plan right now. Maybe if the guy is there, go ahead and get him. Unless you're going to wait until next year. But the funny thing is, man, even next year, who knows where we finish? Will we still have the opportunity to grab a guy like a Trevor Lawrence? Or it's tricky. So I agree with you as well. I hope right now, at 2 years left, and seeing that your franchise quarterback suffered a season-ending injury this past season, that contingency plan need to be ramped up. And that's, again, reason why I think we're going to see a lot of Mason Rudolph, man. That we'll see what he turns out to be. We shall see. All right, man, so 2 more calls, and then we'll get out of here. And I appreciate you guys being good on the time, and I'm trying to limit my responses as well, so let me stop yapping and get to the next call. Area code 919. What you got for us tonight?
Hey, what's going on, Sim, man? It's JJ, man. I just got in here, so maybe, late on some things. But on the quarterback situation, just to be quick on it, I still have confidence in Mason Rudolph. I think people forget that this was his rookie year, basically. Last year he was third string. He basically ain't do nothing, especially in practice, no reps, nothing. So this was his first year. He's a rookie, right? So I think this second year is going to be important for him and important for the organization to see, okay, what did he improve on, right? See if he comes back and show us some things that he didn't do so well this season, and see if he can improve, But I just had a question for you, man, about the running back situation. I see a lot of people talk about, we need to draft a running back. And my take on it is basically, if you draft a running back, he's not going to really get a lot of playing time because you just drafted Benny Snell last year, right? You just drafted Benny Snell. You got Jalen Samuels, and then you got, Kareth White off the practice squad who done some pretty good things. And so my thing is, look, Benny Snell showed some good things as far as maybe being a feature back. And people say, oh, well, he's not quick, he's kind of slow. I said, well, guys, listen, even when Le'Veon Bell's rookie year, he wasn't quick, he was slow. He was on the bigger side. I said, what all these running backs do is they lose weight. They get a little quicker, right? Because the Steelers asked them to do that coming into their second year. So I'm telling the guys, look, let's wait and see if Benny Snell comes back a little bit lighter, a little bit quicker. Because what I saw from this in his rookie year, he may be a guy that could be a feature back for us. We may not need to draft the running back because even if we do, he's not going to get no playing time, right? So that's just my thoughts on it, man. I just want to know your thoughts on it, man. But, yeah, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man, appreciate the call. And you know what? I agree with that. And I think I mentioned it, JJ, might have been on the last show that I did a couple weeks ago, but just to say it again, I wouldn't expect it either, man. I mean, I get it, guys, because I have the fan hat on and I have more of the analyst hat on, so I see it from both sides. The grass look a lot greener on the other side because the grass over here is dulling. It's turning brown. We got a little patch of green, but we can't keep it pretty like we want. We're looking over at the other yard, and that grass is beautiful. But then 2 weeks later, then that yard turns black, and our yard gets greener. And my point is, it seems that way now because James Conner's situation, and, it just seemed like the run game just wasn't there this year. Part of that, I'm sure, believe it or not, is on the quarterback. Part of that is play calling. Part of that is the ability to not being able to be balanced. Part of that also is the offensive line didn't play as well. But you're right about Benny Snell. I think Benny Snell showed us in the last game or two he kind of has what it takes to be a premier back, if not that, a back that can spell somebody else. If we draft another running back, man, I think we're saying that we're not sold on James Conner, or we're going to let Jalen Samuels go. So it's to be determined. But I feel the same way, man. I think the Steelers kind of like that core group that they have, because now if Snell is showing you that he can do some things, it might be worth taking a risk at Connor's health. You know, if he goes down, you got Snell. So I wouldn't expect it either. Not early. Maybe in the later rounds, but I wouldn't expect it either. And I do like Kareth White as well, man. I think he might be the lightning to the thunder that we currently have in the backfield. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and get to the next one, man. This is the last call of the night. Looks like our resident here, you know, the guy we always wait to hear from, Roughhouse Boxing. I believe that's who that is. Area code 931. What you got for us?
Hey, Sim, what it do, man? Hey, I'm back up in this thing like I left my keys. What's going on with you tonight, bro?
Nothing much, man. Just hanging in there, man.
Right. Hey, man, good live stream tonight, man, and everybody has some real interesting points, real interesting takes. I'm just gonna put my 2 cents in and say that I honestly believe the Steelers. A lot of people, all of us have been trying to say where we think the Steelers should, emphasize, that second round pick that they got. The Steelers gonna take the best player available, and y'all be ready for it. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly how it's gonna go. The best player available. Now, personally, I'm hoping that best player is a lineman, an O lineman. Our O line played so underwhelmingly this year, and especially if we could get a left guard or tackle. Yeah, a left guard or tackle. No, right guard or tackle. I'm sorry, right guard or tackle. I think that we need that, and I also believe we need to get a new O-line coach, because whatever message that the previous O-line coach was stressing to the O-line, the new guy, he did not seem to be able to convey that. And along with new O-line talent, I think there should be new O-line coaching too. And I also want to say real quick that I've seen people talk about, get rid of, or get the replacement for our tight end, man. But I think he was the victim of quarterback play. And we saw over the course of the season, man, you look at how many passes went like over the middle, up the seams where the tight end would normally live and thrive, man. There was hardly any of that, and that was because of, the quarterback play. So I think our tight end might be able to shine once Ben gets back. But if Ben gets back and he's not 100%, if we got good O-line play and they can open up some holes, that'll bolster the running game, and then Ben won't have to do as much. So I'm hoping for new O-line talent and new O-line coach, man. And y'all already know what it is, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to the homie Sim. If you're not subscribed to Sim, you're slipping on your pimple. You know what I'm saying? Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you get the notifications, man. And as always, y'all already know, I am Dead Boy Box. This is Roughhouse Boxing TV, and y'all make sure y'all stop by the house. Just remember to wipe your feet, close the door behind you, and I'm out. See ya.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, Roughhouse Boxing, man. We always appreciate his information, man, and his insight. And hold on, guys. I see some information coming across the wire, so let me check something really quick. But yeah, Roughhouse, I fully agree with that. I definitely think that it is going to be a situation where the Steelers will take the best player available. It makes the most sense, guys, if you follow the Steelers for any amount of time and you know how they do business. It definitely makes sense now that, they don't have a first-round pick. But hold on, guys. I just saw something, and I want to see what it all entails. Give me just a second. All right, so they're saying the Browns are expected to hire Bill Callahan. Okay. Interesting, man. You see, the Browns, I don't know. They seem to just continue to make certain moves, whether it's on, personnel in terms of the staff or the team. I hate to say this as a Steelers fan, but I hope they eventually, I hope they eventually get themselves together. As long as we're still able to do what we have to do against them, who cares? But yeah, that's a horrible team, man. Horrible team. But hey, hats off to them. Seems like they got themselves a good hire. So we shall see. But all right, guys, let's get into the chat really quick. I'm only going to spend another 5 minutes in here, and I want to take time to say what's up to Debbie. I didn't say that when I saw her come in earlier. Again, guys, I like to take special time to speak to the ladies of the chat. That's just me. I'm just a respectful guy. So I already spoke to Lanisha, so I want to personally speak to Debbie as well. So how you doing tonight, Debbie? So let's see what you guys got, man. Fire away. Fire away your questions, comments, concerns, what have you, for about 5 minutes, and then I'll be done. In the Green TV says 27 likes, 67 people watching. That don't add up. Come on, y'all. Hit that like button. Yeah, man. And I appreciate you emphasizing that. Do this right here. See the thumbs up? You hit the like. You hit the subscribe. You hit the notification button. That's all you got to do. Trust me, it helps me out. It helps me out. And that's why I usually ask you guys to hit the like button at the very least, because it definitely helps me out. Definitely helps me out. But anyway, what else y'all got here, man? Official Jumpman says, do the Steelers go defense early or late in the draft? Well, just agreeing with Roughhouse Boxing, I think it's all going to, be based on who's there. Let me tell you, if somebody is sitting there in the second round that is considered to be one of the top prospects or a good, solid prospect or best talent or highest on the board for the Steelers, and it's a defensive player, that's who they picking. I really believe that's going to happen in this year's draft. I don't think this year would be as much to do with need in terms of the first pick that they have in the draft. I think best available is probably going to roll off of the board. I think the best available is going to roll off of the board, man. So we shall see. Kegels Bagel says, have you taken a look at the schedule for the Steelers next year? I know the schedule in terms of who we're playing. I'm not sure the full schedule is available in terms of letting us know when and where. But and let's give a shout out, man, to BJ, donated $4.99. I appreciate that. It's never about the amount. I just appreciate the donation, and the only reason why I read the amount is because it popped up on the screen there as you guys saw it. So let me read his comment really quick. He says, if Ben is healthy, do you think the Ravens are still the favorite in the division? Don't hate me for this, guys. I'm just a realist. Yes, I do. The reason why I say that is because we have to prove that we could be better. You feel me? Not saying that we can't be better than the Ravens. Not saying that I don't feel like we can beat the Ravens. We had an opportunity to beat them in the first meeting this past season, right? It came down to the wire without Mason Rudolph. It was Doug Hodges who came in relief of Mason Rudolph, no Ben Roethlisberger, and we had an opportunity late in that game. So I will say this, yes, I definitely think the Steelers will have a chance to reclaim that, but until we do it, I got to go with the hot hand and say, I don't think so. I think Steelers will have to prove that we're better than the Ravens. So I'm not going to let my fanism get in the way of that. Excuse me. Before that comment, Why Diggy says, speaking of Mason Rudolph, how severe was his injury against the Jets? Might be something worth watching. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what, Diggy? I didn't even check, man, to see if he had I believe he got surgery, I think. Not 100% sure, but I want to check into that to confirm whether or not he had surgery. And you're right. How severe is his injury? We could be in a completely disarray situation, man, when it comes to the quarterback starting this season. I hope not, but possibly. My good brother Kenya says, everyone praising number 48. We're not praising him for the prior 4 years as a Steeler, but now y'all praising him. You're right. And see, Kenyon, right, and it's funny, man, because me and Kenyon have been very open about how we have felt about, I'm going to say number 48 whenever I'm referring to Kenyon, because y'all know the running joke there. Yeah, we've been very open about how we felt about 48 the prior years. I will take in consideration, yeah, he may have been injured, but at the time, we didn't care about that, right? He has this one season, and now everybody is lauding him as being the man of the year. You know, had a great season. But I think I still need to see it on a more consistent basis. Now, I will go as far as saying this. So now I will call him Bud. I gave him his name back. I'd like to keep him with TJ because I think him and TJ feed off of each other. So am I in favor of keeping Bud Dupree? Absolutely. I think we need to do whatever we can to keep that tandem together. It's been a long time. Even though we can say it was only this one season. It's been a long time since us as Steelers fans have been able to look at a pass rush tandem. Keep that together if you can. Let's see who else. Joseph Delavicia, what's going on? Sim, what do you think about Zach Banner starting on the line? Let's keep an eye on that as well. Zach Banner has an opportunity, I definitely believe it, going into training camp. He has an opportunity. I think if you look at Matt Fowler from a whole, you got to give him a slight pass for it being technically his first season starting. But I think because of the inconsistency in a guy like Fowler, it's going to open the door for Zach Banner and any other lineman that we might acquire. Keep an eye on that. I like Zach Banner, man. I think Zach Banner still has to show a little more. I haven't had enough opportunity to really see him work, on the line. I mean, I could go back and watch some preseason tape, and I remember looking at him then, but I wasn't paying attention to Banner as much as other guys because I knew Banner didn't have a chance, per se. I didn't know if the Steelers were going to keep him. But, yeah, that's a guy to keep an eye on, man. He might have an opportunity. Again, considering who's currently on the line, he has a chance. Debbie says, Tim, Ben has already said he will be back. His ego is too big to bow out now with his contemporaries not out of the game. Yeah, Debbie, you hit it right on the head, man. Don't think Ben going nowhere right now. No. Big Ben Roethlisberger is not going to be lumped in that conversation, especially if Rivers goes too. Oh, no. He ain't allowing that. You got to think, the high praise that he has for Brady, Ben ain't trying to bow too much earlier than Brady. Believe that. Darren Dalton says, should we be concerned about Marquise Pouncey, or do we just chalk it up this past season or this past year as just a bad season? Slight concern, man, because Pouncey has had bad games, but you don't normally see Pouncey repeatedly having bad games like that. Let alone some of the times that he was getting pushed around in certain situations. I'm just talking about the bad snaps and such. We might need to be a little concerned about Pouncey, slightly. I think Pouncey still is consistent enough, to be a center for us. But, yes, slightly concerned. Keep an eye on him. Robert Washington, Ben's going to milk. What did he say? Milk as many 2-year deals as he can. You might be right. Shout outs to Kegel's Bagel, man, dropping a donation in there. He says, great content, man. Could we deal Ben for a pick? Nope. Not going to happen. No idea is, some people are going to say, oh, that's ludicrous. Hey, everybody has their own opinions, but not Kegel. Don't expect that. Roethlisberger will retire as a Pittsburgh Steeler. I'm almost 100% confident of that. They're not trading Big Ben Roethlisberger. No way, no how. Let's see what a few of you other guys have to say. Let's go back up a little bit. Droz Hill says, we playing against Wentz, Watson, Locke, Daniels, Jackson, Allen, Mayfield, etc. all at QB, and we still have faith in Mason if Ben is not healthy. Yeah, okay. Hey, Droz, I'm right there with you, man. You right. We can only judge people by what we last saw, even though I'm still the one that says that Rudolph, if you just look at him as a full package, I think Rudolph has the ability to become something, but I don't know if he will. Because the things that he lacks, it seems to be fixable, but when he's been at his worst, he's been at his worst. Just reading the field. You know what I mean? Like, he has a decent enough arm. big body guy. You know, I think he could end up being a headsy guy. You know, I like his moxie. You know, the games that he played well, I like the fact that he's not afraid. You know, he has the confidence about him. But those little things about his pocket presence and not scanning the field. I mean, think about the Cleveland game, that fourth down, and it's right there in front of him. And those things, man, I just don't know. I just don't know. Black Hawk, what up, man? He says, do you think Fichtner did not lose his job because Ben likes him, or do the Steelers think highly of him? I think it's more so his contract. If I'm not mistaken, Fichtner's contract didn't expire or would not have expired in this past season. Butler's, however, I think would have expired. So it seems like Butler might be brought back. You know, it's very late in the process right now, even though it's just January. Seems like by now, if they were going to make more coaching changes, they would. Not saying it can't happen, but seems like everybody's going to be back and they're going to have the addition of Matt Canada. So we'll see how that goes. A few more guys, and then we'll get out of here. Jarrell Williams says, can't wait to see my DBs next season. Should we keep an eye on Edmonds' strong safety spot, Sean Davis rebirth? I don't think Davis will be re-signed, man. You know, I think him and Artie Burns will be allowed to walk. I think they've played their last downs as Pittsburgh Steelers. Definitely Artie Burns. Let me see what else y'all got, man. Roughhouse Boxing, man. Shout outs to Roughhouse Boxing. Appreciate that donation, my good brother. He says, do you think Terrell Edmonds will take a step forward next year? It's hard to say. I got to be honest and say I can't right now say that I think he will take a step forward. The evidence isn't really there. It's the magical third year. So we shall see. I think maybe having more time in a training camp and the chemistry and the friendship, you know, the things that you expect these guys to do off the field in the off season, et cetera, when they train, you would imagine that him and Minka will grow that. Maybe him and Minka will train together. You would imagine that he will become better. But I can't say that I'm confident in thinking that he will. To be determined. All right, 2 or 3 more and then we out of here. Leonard Green says the Rooneys have already stated that Ben is retiring as a Steeler, so Ben will be there. Absolutely. I agree with you fully. Ollie Howard says as long as Trey keeps getting interceptions, it makes up for Terrell. You said as long as Trey keeps getting interceptions. Oh, you talking about his brother? But yeah, man. I don't know, man. I wish I could say, and I wish I could feel like, you know, I wish I could feel like that I had confidence in to jump out on the limb and say he would get better, but I don't see it. I don't quite see it. All right, guys, throw 2 more at me, and I'm serious. 2 more, just 2 more, and then we'll bounce. We'll bounce after that. Cagle said Mason playing on Madden. He's playing on all Madden, but his brain is on. He's playing on rookie, but his brain is on all Madden. Y'all not right, man. Yes, Robert, he definitely could use better ball skills. You are correct, man. Terrell Edmonds, it was bad, that mistimed interception. Y'all remember that one deep in the end zone? Just makes it look bad, man. Jarrell says better tackling skills. He can't tackle, in my opinion. I won't go as far as saying he can't tackle. I actually, it called me crazy, I think his tackling improved this season from his rookie season. That would just be my guess. And like I said, and again, I'm not accusing you of this, but I will say this as from a general standpoint. A lot of times, a lot of us you know, and I'm going to include myself in it, even though I try not to, but I will just, you know, I'm a part of you guys, so I'm always going to say us, even if I don't do it. But a lot of us as fans, right, we look at isolated situations, and that gives us our opinion about the player. You might have saw a game where he missed a tackle or two, and then in your mind he can't tackle. But if you look at it as a whole, like, again, man, you know, being on this analyst side, I watched the film. I watched it all 22 of every game multiple times. I think Edmonds' tackling actually improved over last season. You know, this past season, it improved over his rookie season. All right, here we go. Here's one from somebody that didn't speak already, and I'll read these last two. KSO Dangerous says, I hate losing Jordan Hargrave. You said Jordan Hargrave. I guess you're talking about, you know, Hargrave. We all know who you're referring to. Yeah, man, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt, man. You know, I know some people are not as heavily, you know, sold on Hargrave as I am. You know, Javon Hargrave, yeah, that's gonna be a blow. Hopefully, we can replace him. Oh, wait a minute, I will read another one. I didn't see Captain Spartan all night, so I'll read his along with Robert Ellison. He says, that's why I think he'd be better at linebacker. Possible. You know, possible. Or maybe do Edmonds the way I do him in my little Madden franchise, man. I got him he always playing in the box. You know, you guys probably have seen it, the one that I post. You know, I drafted the McKinley kid as strong safety, McKinney, and I got Edmonds. He only plays in the box. You know, on third down, I got him and Devin Bush playing in the nickel, and that's where he stay at because of his, you know, his speed. You know, sometimes I'll use him, but he don't play in coverage. All right, and the last one here, man. Captain Spartan says, Sim, just to let you know, Hopkins and Moss, the only tight ends that check all the boxes. Power 5, NFL bloodlines, and last year high production. You are right, my friend. In terms of those are the things that the Steelers generally look for. I wonder if they bend the rules a little bit in the second round. And that's usually what we do in our first round pick. So I wonder how the generic rules that it seems the Steelers follow. Seems like they follow all the time, but it's normally first round picks like pro days and all of that stuff. I wonder if it's the same when we're talking second round. But all right, I'm going to get out of here, man. I'm getting a phone call here from my mother. She's calling me here on FaceTime. So you're going to hear me answer in real time. Watch this, guys. Hold on one second. I'm wrapping up the show. All right, guys. So like I told y'all, I would answer the phone, and you heard me speaking to my mom live there. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here right on time. That's all I got for y'all tonight. So like always, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, cut on your notifications. Definitely do that. It don't cost you anything to do that as well. Why don't you do like some of the other people did tonight? Donate. If you feel the need to donate, you can do so right here on YouTube. $sign down in the bottom right corner. But also, if you prefer to do it outside of YouTube, the information is in the description. There's Cash App, there's PayPal, whatever floats your boat, and I will thank you in advance. But outside of that, I'll catch you guys next week. Be great, be blessed, and thank you for tuning in to Turbo Towel Tuesday. Peace.